Right punks, what stuff I use to make stuff like this, I'm going to show you in this video the bits and pieces that silver punks use to create items like this. Let's have it. This is just a quick run through of the bits and pieces that I've got, what I use. So we'll just crack straight off, we'll get straight in with the furnace. This is the furnace I use. You can see graphite crucible in there, which is at the end of its life. That needs replacing now, I won't be using that again. But you can just buy these online. That's where all the magic happens, in there. And there's the furnace, just an electric furnace that you plug in, on switch, and the computer panel there. Relatively cheap. You can get these now online, I think anywhere between about £250 up to about £400, depending on the size. This is just your 1 kilo version. That's all what I use. Good enough for silver punk at the moment. Got a clamp, little knife, out the kitchen pliers. Got a little whip there, and some little crucibles, as you can see. Some old bits of silver that need melting down. Fireproof square, fireproof block, and they're just sat on top of just your bog standard, like little slabs, little concrete slabs. But again, all relatively cheap. Again, those are cheap off Amazon and eBay. These were off the internet. And then coming down here, we've got the Vortex, got the torch, the blow torch that goes on the MAPP gas. Very useful. You need one of those. And you got your tongs for holding the crucible. Again, they actually come with the furnace, so you find that a lot. Some moulds, graphite moulds, just your generic moulds like most silver pourers. Everyone does a heart, square, rounds, the bars. Got another bar one there. They're all generic, just bought off the internet. As you see, lots of silver pourers do the same. That's why I like doing the sand casting. Gets a little bit different. As you can see, there's some old sand casts that I've done. I can't remember what I've got there. Number 33, pour 30. The Grim Reaper bar, if you can just make him out. That's what that was. Skeleton bars. Don't know what those were. And one down there. Pour 32, that was a Grim Reaper. As you can see, I made the wooden ones. That's just easy enough, pieces of wood and a screw. And the metal ones, just bought these off, I think these were eBay or Amazon. eBay, I think the small one was. I think the bigger one was Amazon. Very, very, very useful, very good. You can do the open cast pours in them like that, or if you put them together, you've got the flask. And obviously you can do the 3D stuff. It's all very useful. So you need some, and obviously the casting clay. So you got those. Graphite moulds, like I said. Now some safety bits and pieces. There's my gloves. Again, all off the internet. Gloves or gauntlets, leather insides, and some, I don't know what that is, it's like a suede leathery stuff. Some safety goggles, just some DeWalt bog standard safety goggles. I wear those. Some people say it's a bit overkill, but I like to be, better safe than sorry. There's the old quencher, the pot of water, the old quench, also useful. Oh, my apron. Always have that on. Again, it's that suede leathery stuff. Again, better safe to be sorry. And again, nothing too expensive, all these bits and pieces. I think the gloves and the apron come together. I think those around the £25 mark. Goggles, again, wasn't expensive, a tenner. Some scales there that I use. Moulds, again, not massively expensive. You can pick these up online. I think you can get custom ones done, but again, you pay a bit more for those. But if you see what other silver pourers use, everyone uses pretty much the same moulds. You see like the pirate moulds and skull and crossbones, they're all pretty much generic and all the same. So you can get all those. Pliers and the furnace. So yeah, so there you have it, guys. That's all what I use. Oh, I didn't mention carbon graphite. I can't remember what that is now. Graphite rod for stirring up. Don't normally use that, just because I use the fine grain. The 3/9's fine, so I don't really give it a stir. It just pours nice. So yeah, so there you have it. Got a clamp And that's, as you can see, that's my messy workbench. Needs a little bit of a tidy up, but it's getting ready to go. I'll be doing some pouring tomorrow, so no doubt I'll do you a video on that. Right, Silver Punks, as you can see, we're back in the house now, and after all the pouring equipment that you've just seen out in the shed, obviously once you've poured, you'll have your items fresh out the furnace, and then you've got to do a bit of clean up. Now there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can do a lot by hand, or you can use various tools. The first job normally is to have a look, see if there's any graphite pollution on the back of the item you've made, and if there is, then you need to get that off. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can use sandpaper. There's different grades, obviously. That's a P800, this is a 3000. Both like wet and dry. I always wet them, and I always use a bit of malt vinegar to do that, which you've seen in some other videos. Again, all relatively cheap. And you can also use machines to do it. If I just move you around slightly, just that one there, that here, is what they call a rock tumbler. Now what's in there, tumbling machine, you got like little beads or metal or rubber, but I use little metal. Just little, almost like miniature ball bearings, and then you put some water and some cleaning fluid, or I just use washing up liquid if I'm honest. Bang it in there, put your items in, turn it on, and that spins round, and it just knocks all the graphite and the pollution off, and it also cleans them up and polishes them. Now the thing with this, you've got to be a bit careful. You can't leave them too long, because obviously it bombards the surface of the silver, so you can get little pitting and some marks on them, so you've got to use that with a bit of care. So that's, you could use that, or you can just use, as I say, the sandpaper and the vinegar and do it by hand. It just depends what you want to do. The next machine, I'll just turn you around, this is called an ultrasonic cleaner, which again I've showed you before. You just dip them in there, and that just takes any surface pollution off them. And very good if once you've stamped them, if you want to do them after you've stamped them, or if you've had to file them down with an old file and there's a bit of rust. You don't want no contamination on the silver, so that's what I use to get rid of that. Some other tools, as you can see, I've got like a little rotary drill thing. Now this has many attachments. So again, all these items here just bought off eBay and off the internet, off Amazon, relatively cheap. I think the tumbler and the ultrasonic machine was around the £50 mark each, so not that bad at all. And then I've got the drill thing here, I think this was 25, and I've got like lots of different clean-up tools, lots of different attachments for different jobs for getting in little bits and pieces, so that's good. To get any bumps, any of the little spotting that comes up on them, or if you've over poured, or if you've done a 3D thing in a flask and you've got some flashing around the edge you want to cut off, well worth using one of those. Little clippers as well, they're always handy. I've got some bigger ones. So once you've done the clean up, then you've got to come think about stamping. So this is what this is for, the anvil, little cheaper anvil, only little as you can see. And then obviously some stamps. So these are just, if you're getting that, if I can just, they're just like alphabet stamps, what I use for stamping up, putting the old SP on. As you can see, the S&P is being very well used, and there's just the numbers, very much similar, again just all off the internet. Rubber block for actually banging the item on, because obviously if you've got a pattern on the one side, when you turn it over to bang it, you don't want to flatten it, and that's what happens on the anvil. That's okay if there's no pattern. If it's pattern or relief, you need to use a rubber block. So you do your stamping, and pretty much there. The only thing you need after that is if you want to finish them even more, if you want to put some toning on the items or polishing them. So what I'll do, I'll move all this out the way, then I'll show you the items I use to get the toning and how I polish them, what equipment you need for that. So this is pretty much post-pour, post-production, and just finishing material. So I'll show you the last process, the items you need for the last of the process now. Right, Silver Punks, so as you can see, these are the bits and pieces I use for the actual finishing. It all depends what type of finish you want. If you just want a shiny finish, like that, I suppose you're getting that, just like that skull. Now the only thing I use for that is some silicone polish or any other metal polish, there's lots on offer. And then I just use the sponge and just give it a buff up. There's no real science to it really, it's just common sense and just trial and error. Just give it a good buff up, and polish over. Now you can use tools, obviously. You can use the rotary drill and polish in bits and pieces, but I just like to do it by hand, and that's how you get basically a silvered finish, pretty much easy. And then you can do lots of other finishes like this toning stuff. Now what we use for that, you need to buy some of this stuff, I think you're getting that, called liver of sulphur extended life gel, XL gel. Again, you can get this online. Again, not too expensive from memory. I can't exactly remember how much this was, but it's not expensive. So you get that, you just dilute it down with some water and plop your items in, and depending, now this is where it's a little bit tricky, you've got to get the timing right. Obviously the longer you leave it, the darker they go, but also the actual heat of the water you're using does contribute to different effects. So as you can see, there's three different colours there. You're getting that? I think you're getting that. And they're just different lengths of time left in the solution and what temperature the water was. And so you've got to play about yourself to kind of work out what type of finish you want to achieve, and you do that by timing and heat basically. So that's very much personal preference and, you know, trial and error. So that's how you get the tone ones. And then obviously you've got the antique finish one here. Now basically all what that is, you tone it up like that, leave it to go dark, and then you use your polish just to rub that back. So again, the only things you're buying really is your polish and your liver of sulphur. Now there's a bit of baking powder there. Now I'm not 100% sure whether you need that or not. I've just seen other people use it, but I'm not sure whether it does anything. I'm going to do an experiment actually to see. So once you've put it in the liver of sulphur gel, you pop it in some warm water with baking powder and some washing up liquid to stop the process. But I've seen some people say, well, you don't need that because this stuff isn't acidic. But I don't know, I'm not a scientist, I'm very much a novice still. We're still, if you've seen from the videos, you're watching us progress. So I'll try and do some research on that, or if anyone knows, please do drop us a line. But yeah, that I thought I'd just give you a run through to show you how we do things. By no means the right way, it's just how we do them. No doubt some other pourers out there will be going, oh my god, what are they doing? The crackers are doing it wrong. But this is how we're getting these results. So not too bad. Obviously room for improvement. We've still got a long way to go. We're still learning. That's what this channel's for, to show you our processes and what we do. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you've seen the items that we use to create these type of products. And if you're interested in doing it for yourselves, all I can say is please do. Just get out there and start. It's so much fun. A lovely change of pace from your normal day job, as it were, and it's just wonderful. I mean, producing stuff like this from when you've never picked up a furnace or a crucible in your hands with molten silver, it's just wonderful. I can't. It's just so exhilarating and exciting, and just the creativity, just thinking of stuff to do, going on the internet, having a look, getting some ideas. It's just really cool. Little skeleton bar there. So right guys, I'm going to leave you all to it now, as I've got other stuff to do. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, just jump in and do it. You can do it on a bit of a budget, just, you know, a little bit at a time. We've just grew it, buying one item as and can we can afford it basically. So that's the way to do it. So yeah, just get stuck in. So I'll see you silver punks in the next video. Cheers.